Easy. All I have to do is wash this out. No extra dishes. And this is nutritious. I do love this soup. I love this soup. Welcome to the Minivan Lee Show. Welcome. High five. You're doing great. Good things are coming our way, aren't they? Hey, please subscribe. Thank you. Today, I'm going to finish up. And I'm going to talk about 50s parents. Now, it's a little bit of a blast from the past, right? But it does show the difference between now and then, okay? So let's get going. Let's talk about this. And welcome to my club. If you've been with me for a while, thank you. You know, a lot of people are going to see this and they're going to go, I don't know, I might pass it on by. But we know how fun this series is. This is the last of the series, so let's go. Watch it all the way to the end. You're going to love it. I promise. Ready for number 11? If you want to see 1 through 5 and 6 through 10, just look below this and start there, and then you can catch up. Okay, number 11. 50s parents, they disciplined each other's children. Do you remember that? Can you imagine that happening now? There are lawsuits going on in court, over stuff like that. Don't you talk to my child. Well, back when I was growing up, and a lot of you were growing up in the 50s, yeah, parents were disciplining each other's children's. And it was commonplace. And it says parents were much more involved in their communities. Oh yeah. And some more than others. My parents were involved in the community, I guess, for the most part. How about yours? Let me know in comments if you have things you want to say and express. This is a club, right? And you're the members. And if you're just new here, you're an honorary member already. But you can, as I go through these, like 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, you can make comments and then just send it and then make another comment. I love reading them. I really do. And I will assure you, I read every single comment. I do. I read them. Because what's happened is sometimes I get really nasty ones from really nasty trolls. And of course, a stalker that I have adopted. Yeah, she's a stalker. And so what I do is I try to ward them off. So I have all comments on hold. I approve them. So if you don't see it right away, don't freak out. I look through them all during the day, and I read them and I approve them. Because some of them are pretty bad. You don't want to read them, and I don't want them slipping through there are some weird people out there, folks. Let me tell you. And I'm seeing them, right? Okay, so, and then kids were more accountable to more adults. And any adult was allowed to discipline them. For the most part, I would imagine some weren't allowed, but yeah. And it made me think, okay, maybe because earlier I talked about how children are taught manners. Back then, 50s parents taught their children manners, thank you, please. And just being very polite, not just interrupting adults, but they would wait. They would stand back and wait to be acknowledged. And then they'd say, well, what do you need? What do you want? Sometimes my parents, like I said, would say, What? Because they were busy talking. They were busy being who they were. Okay. They loved it. My parents really loved each other. They really did. And they stuck together, and they were married. They got married at, I think, 19, and my mother passed when she was 79, so they were married all the way through. Yeah, they were married, and they got along really well. Let me just, as a side note, my parents, let me know how it went with your parents, because not everybody was the same. I mean, some parents, maybe they had to get married, and they just really didn't like each other, or they just weren't a good match, but they were expected to get married. Maybe it was even arranged back then. You'd say, oh, and they would say, oh, you guys would be good to be married. And they would encourage the boy to ask the girl to marry them. Or they were school sweethearts and they got married. It was what was expected. We graduated. Now the next thing we're going to do is get married. Yeah. And we're going to have children and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, my parents were all the way through, and they really did, they were good friends. And my parents actually went to school together, but they weren't sweethearts, no. My mom got a job where my dad worked, and she was a good looker. Oh yeah, she was really cute. It was just after she had her first baby, she kind of didn't take care of herself real well. And I think back then there were women that just didn't do it. Well, there's women that don't do it now, so I won't even go into that. But she didn't lose the weight, and then she had another, yeah. But I'll tell you, they loved each other. They really did. And I will say, I know I'm going off on this. My parents never fought. They weren't really, I don't remember them being mad at each other. I think they would kind of rib at each other every once in a while, or, like say little things like, well, yeah, because, yeah. But it was more on a friendly tone because my dad was a very funny person and he let things slide. But my mom really didn't put him down. And, but I do, oh my gosh, I'm telling my stories again. But I do remember one time where, I don't know, my mom had just had it or something. She was like, and she laughed. We thought, well, I was a child, I thought, my mother left. She went to her dad's house, well, her grandparents raised her, and so she went back, and her grandpa was still alive, and she went there for the day. And my dad was so sad. Oh my gosh, I don't know. We never did find out what the problem was, but we were just rallied around him, and we all walked around like little zombies. We didn't know what to do. My mom was gone. Was she ever coming back? Okay. So anyways, but my parents did get along, but they did teach us to be polite. We couldn't just, if they were in the kitchen talking, we couldn't just go interrupt them. And we certainly wouldn't plop ourselves down to join in. That was their time. They were the parents, okay? And let me know if that's the way it was with your house. And I'm getting comments from a lot of you where you're saying, my house wasn't like that at all. Now, one of you, I should have saved it so I could read it. One of you said, my family life was just so unusual because my mother had a disorder where she couldn't be in sunlight. So a lot of their time with the parents was at night. That's different. Very, very different. And those are things that we don't normally think about. It's like, well, we think, okay, everybody had the same thing going on with me. What's going on with this? Oh yeah. Had the same things going on with me, but no, there were all kinds of things going on. So when I'm talking about this, I explained in the past 2 videos that we're talking about the top of the bell curve. These are the percentage, the highest percentage of parents in the 50s did this. But there were all kinds of different things going on. Yeah. And so I was thinking, maybe that's why parents really did teach their children manners. because it was more of a community thing. It was what it was expected, right? So that way other parents didn't have to correct their children, because that is bothersome. It was weird if another parent would discipline my children. I think maybe it made me feel bad, like, yeah, well, maybe my child wasn't taught right. Or it's like, as a parent, I think, well, you don't really have any rights to, back off. Back off, sister. Back off from my kids. My kids are great, But maybe, and I'm sure the parents of the 50s may have felt that also. But that's why they taught them manners, so other parents didn't have a chance to do that. Okay, next. Number 12. They sent their kids to the corner store with a note. Oh my gosh. So I'm going to guess I had a corner store, and then there was another corner store not too far, but it was a little bit longer walking distance. So we usually went to the closest one, but it was a little smaller. Okay. But yeah, some of you actually made comments. Yeah, we used to walk to the store. Even very young. Very young. Okay. Stop. Stop messaging me, okay? It says, kids were sent to the corner store on occasion, and they picked up special groceries for the parents. And sometimes they even bought cigarettes for the parents and brought them home with a note. And you had a note. Yeah. Ay, Lucy. Oh my gosh. Yeah, they would send a note if they ran out of cigarettes. I know. Stop. I'll tell you, yeah. This was an important thing back in the 50s, right? I know. Yeah, cigarettes. Did you smoke? I did. I started smoking. I think I had my first cigarette when I was like 15. Yes, my oldest sister started smoking. Yeah. So we were riding in the car, and I said, give me one of that. Give me some of that. She looked at me, and I said, come on, so I did. And you'd think I'd go, no, I didn't. It was like, okay. Mm-hmm. I think I was so used to nicotine in the air. It was like, finally, I get my first puff of an actual cigarette. I see everybody else doing it, Okay, let me put that down. A little entertainment for you. Yeah. If your parents didn't smoke, you were lucky. Because a lot of us, they did, and they were killing us. And I'm positive, nobody talked about this, but I'm positive that my mother smoked while she was pregnant for me. Yeah, so cigarettes, yeah, nicotine, I knew all about it even before I came into the world, right? So, yeah, and then they were sending us to buy it for them. Yeah, right, okay. That's why you see pictures of like kids, young boys, they're sitting at the corner, they're like 8 years old and they got a cigarette, yeah. If you have nicotine coming at you, you do probably become, ding. I know, my message thing. You do get addicted to it very young. Yeah. So, yeah, corner stores. I had a corner store, my beloved corner store. I will tell you about it at some other time, but I've got other things to say. So, let's keep going. Okay, parents of the 50s, they gave their kids the garden hose unattended. Unattended? Oh, I don't understand that. Yeah. Do we have hoses out that we attend to nowadays? I'm sure that there are hoses out there unattended even to this day, 2024. But the thing is that we were allowed to drink out of the garden hose. Well, you know what? I'm going to say it right now. If I was really thirsty and if I was dying of thirst and there was a garden hose there, I would drink out of it even now. It's like, it's water. I don't think it's going to kill me. It might not be the best, but And it also said that parents were not worried about bottled water. Was there bottled water back then? And or filtered water. Yeah. I get, and I don't know. I don't think the water was any cleaner back then. I mean, oh, okay. Well, I don't know about that, but yeah. So, yeah, they drank right from the hose. Okay. Number 14, moving along. Okay, 1950s parents, they let their kids ride in the back seat of the car without a seatbelt or, heaven forbid, a car seat. Okay, yeah, those big car seats. Okay, yeah. And it says when the kids, when they sat in the back seat, they would just slide around back and forth as the car turned sharp corners. I've seen that, yeah. I've seen that in TV and movies and things like that. Let me know what your situation was growing up with the car situation. I mean, they used to ride in the back. I don't know if they still do, but the ride in the back of pickups. There'd be a bunch of kids in the back of the pickups. Yeah. I mean, if you went over a bump, I mean, a child could just riding in there, poop, and they just fall out. But there were 4 children in my family. I was one of the 4. I was the youngest. And if we all went in the same car, I had to ride shotgun. Is that what it's called? You have to ride in the middle? Yeah. Yeah, I had to ride up in the front with the parents because I could fit in between, yeah. And then they'd be in the back. But we went on vacations quite a bit. And my dad was a Buick guy, okay? A sedan, a Buick guy. We never had a station wagon, ever. I know. We never had a station wagon. I had a station wagon when my kids were small. But, so we were in a sedan, a Buick. He was a Buick guy. And but I remember going on vacation, and there were times where I did sit in the back, because I remember what I would do, I would sit there. I was smaller, so I would then lean my head, not on their shoulder, but I would actually lean over, put my head on like my oldest sister's lap and fall asleep. Because my dad had a hankering. He had a hankering for leaving, like at 4 a.m. when it was still dark. He would leave at 4 a.m. He'd have the car packed, and he would leave then. He liked to drive in the dark. Yeah, I don't know. And then watch the sun come up. That was his delight. Yeah. Okay, and last, number 15. Parents sent their kids to school with baked goods. Yeah, for birthdays. And the parents did a lot of baking, and they would send cupcakes to school for birthdays when it was the child's birthday to share with all of the students. And the one thing that they didn't do was worry about allergies and gluten. Gluten allergies, yeah. I know. We got a lot of that going on. Maybe it's because of all the plastic we gained from drinking out of the hoses. The chemicals, we were getting chemicals, and it changed our DNA and our eggs, the women's eggs, so that now they have children who, they have allergies, and, boys think they're girls, girls think they're boys. Things are getting kind of twisted around. Maybe we can blame it on the plastic from the hose because it changed us. Oh my gosh. Hey, I did read that plastic, we use so much plastic, and it heats up, and the chemicals from the plastic, it does change things. I think they tested on frogs or something, that all the frogs were becoming female-ish, and the water had more, I mean, I'm not saying, I don't know if this is true, but I've read these things. Let me know if you've read these. And all the birth control that's getting urinated out and going into our system, our water system. Boys are becoming more feminine, yes. All that estrogen going in there, yeah. Who knows? I mean, I do know that things have changed. I don't know all of these are just theories, myths maybe, yeah, rumors. But yeah, things have changed, haven't they? But I hope you had fun looking back at all of this. And I did. And the stories and stuff. At some point, I would love to talk about my corner store experience. Oh my gosh, yes. Great memories from the corner store. And I can still picture in my mind everything about this little square building that was right down the street. So I love you guys. Oh my gosh, I really do. And I do have fun with you, and thanks for sticking with me, especially during the summer here. If you're new here, I'm not really out and about so much because of the stalker and an active stalker. So I just kind of like hanging in and being in my studio, my Minivan Lee show studio, and just bringing information to you. And I'll be camping pretty soon though, so I'll show you what's going on there. But until then, parting is such sweet sorrow, okay? You guys go out and have a good day, and good things are coming your way. Expect it. Expect good outcomes, okay? Please subscribe. Please, it really does help me out. Bye. Mwah, mwah. Bye.